Hello lovelies! So a few months ago on the channel, I shared a video about 3 low-carb breakfast recipes. They were all delicious, but one seemed to have really stood out to you guys. It was this low-carb breakfast sandwich on a low-carb biscuit. Now I know low-carb biscuits might sound like a bit of an oxymoron, but honestly guys, they are real and they are spectacular. Today I wanted to show you 3 tasty takes on this classic biscuit that I think you guys are going to love, starting with a version that is a copycat of a Cheddar Bay Biscuit from Red Lobster. If you've never had a Cheddar Bay Biscuit from Red Lobster, let's be serious. It's one of the most delicious biscuits known to man, I think. The way we keep them low carb is by starting with some almond flour. So instead of traditional flour here, these are made with almond flour, which is great because they're also totally gluten-free, and they happen to be keto as well. So for any of you living that keto life, this is a great recipe for you. To my almond flour, I am adding some baking powder so I can get some nice lift in my biscuits, and I'm also going to add just a sprinkle of sugar. Now for some flavor, I've got some garlic powder headed in here, as well as just a touch of cayenne powder. Now, you're not gonna get a ton of heat from this cayenne, just a little bit of flavor, but if you wanna skip it, you definitely can. We'll whisk our dry ingredients together, and then we will set them aside while we get to work on our wet ingredients. So for my wet ingredients, I am using 2 eggs, a bit of sour cream, as well as some melted butter. And I'm just gonna give all of this a good whisk. Then I'm going to transfer my wet ingredients into my dry ingredients and add a good helping of shredded cheddar cheese. Now, the cheddar cheese in this recipe not only adds great flavor, but it really helps with the texture of these biscuits, and you're gonna see they just come out so perfectly fluffy. You will not believe there is no gluten in this recipe. Once all that tastiness is mixed up, I recommend letting this dough sit for between 5 and 10 minutes. Giving it that 5 to 10 minutes gives it a chance to firm up a little bit and makes your biscuits a lot easier to shape. Now to shape my biscuits, I am using an ice cream scoop. I find that's the perfect size, and I'll just be scooping my dough onto a parchment-lined baking sheet. I'm gonna get these into the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for say between 10 and 12 minutes, or just until they are nice and golden. Now, these come out of the oven absolutely delicious and ready to be devoured. But if you want to take them to that next level and make them really taste like a classic Cheddar Bay biscuit, the secret is actually with some butter, some fresh parsley, and a little garlic powder. You just mix that up and then brush it over the top of each of these biscuits. And let me tell you guys, these were gone in seconds on this set. For my second tasty take on these biscuits, I am making a slightly more sophisticated olive and rosemary biscuit that is oh so yummy and perfect with any sort of Mediterranean fare you might be serving. These start with my classic dry ingredients, so I've got my almond flour here, and I'm going to be adding a little baking powder and salt to that. I'll whisk that up so it's well combined. Then I'll whisk up my eggs, my sour cream, and my butter. I'll transfer my wet ingredients into my dry ingredients, and then into the bowl, I'm going to add some shredded white cheddar, some nice freshly grated Parmesan. You guys know how I feel about freshly grated Parmesan over the canned stuff. This is the place to go with freshly grated as far as I'm concerned. I'm also going to be adding some Kalamata olives that have been pitted and chopped, and I've got some rosemary here. So I've got about a teaspoon or so of freshly chopped rosemary. And finally, I'm also going to be adding some garlic to this. Now you could add garlic powder here, but I want a really nice garlic flavor. So I'm actually going to be grating in a little bit of fresh garlic. I always recommend grating your garlic or using garlic puree in a recipe like this, because if you mince it, you run the risk of someone getting a big bite of garlic in one of their biscuits, and that's not what we're going for. Once all that yumminess is well combined, we'll go ahead and let it sit for another 5 to 10 minutes. As soon as it's had a chance to firm up, we will form our biscuits using our ice cream scoop once again. These will head into the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for between 10 and 12 minutes. And oh my gosh, guys, when they come out of the oven, they are so delicious. It's really hard to let them cool 5 minutes before eating them. So for my final biscuits today, I am going to be making some sausage, cheddar, and chive breakfast biscuits. And of course, that all starts with some sausage. So I've got about ½ a pound of breakfast sausage here. I am just going to brown it off, get it cooked completely. I'm going to use my spoon to sort of chop it into little bits because we want it to be broken up when it hits our dough. And then it is going to be real delicious in these biscuits. Now, as soon as that sausage is cooked, I'm just going to transfer it to a bowl and allow it to cool completely. completely while I get to work on my biscuit dough. Once again, we are starting with the very same dry ingredients: almond flour, baking powder, and a little salt. Once those are mixed up, we'll get our wet ingredients happening. We've got our eggs, sour cream, some butter, and this time we are going to be mixing in our sausage with our cheddar cheese and a big helping of freshly chopped chives. We'll let our dough set for another 5 to 10 minutes, then we'll transfer it to our baking sheet and get these into the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for between 10 and 12 minutes. When they come out, they are golden, flaky, delicious, super savory, and the perfect breakfast treat. Don't believe me? You should definitely try these for yourselves. In fact, you should try all of these recipes for yourselves. And if you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo. You guys know how much I love seeing your kitchen creations. Keep in mind, all of these yummy recipes are being featured on healthymealplans.com. It's our awesome meal planning site, and if you haven't checked it out yet, I really hope you will. It's full of delicious recipes. You can drag and drop them into your weekly meal plan and then generate your shopping list for the week. How convenient is that? Finally, if you have not already, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because, guys, there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.